It's often hard for people who do not work in disaster response to understand how even in a country as developed as our United States is, how desperate people can be for just the most basic thing like safe water.
Put in your mind right now is, what if you could position a certain number of chlorine generators here that could be just as vital, just as important as bottled water, chlorine tablets, and other goods that are put in the disaster. We want to try to help you kind of imagine a little bit different way to put water in your toolkit as you're doing work in the disaster situation.
It was finding some sort of tool, some sort of way to educate people that was the kind of explosion of possibility, if you will. So in the early 2000s is where our momentum with water, health and sanitation began. And eventually, in about 2009, is where we realized what we were doing in the developing world had great application in disasters. And so we began to look at disaster situations and how we could give people living in that disaster the hope to take care of themselves with water, sanitation, and health. So we started out with a chlorine generator, simply manufacturing safe water with electrolysis, with salt and water and electricity. And then through the relationships that we had, all of a sudden we got a phone call from some folks working in the Ebola virus years ago in Liberia, and they said, hey, that stuff that you do, that you create, that disinfectant for water, could it help in an Ebola virus situation kill Ebola? Because we can't get disinfectant.
Because this is the way that chlorine and bleach is made, is with salt, sodium chloride.
Nice.
So as a response to that request, we came up with this great, simple tool that could help you manufacture disinfectant anywhere on the planet just with salt and water and a car battery, but strong enough to be used for medical waste. That brought us to a whole new place of possibilities.
Now this bleach maker, it makes sodium hypochlorite solution that has a multi-purpose use. We can use it to disinfect water, to make clean water safe for drinking, disinfecting hospitals, disinfecting utensils, disinfecting floors, and also disinfecting the clothes.
Yeah, the WOW card is a piece of equipment that we've developed where we've taken all of our technology. The M100 chlorine generator, we have taken bleach making, filtration, from simple filtration for getting out particles down to 25 microns to activated carbon filtration. Combining all of that with a dual fuel generator that runs off of propane or gasoline that will supply energy to the M100, to bleach making, but also to a large jet pump, which is capable of distributing water. We've taken all that, we've packaged it up into this 3 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot rolling piece of equipment. And WOW stands for Water on Wheels. The hoses are all quick connect. I can run through filtration, through chlorination, and I can take the chlorine right back out again if I want to.
Usually with our teams, we are first in on ground zero, and it's been a big problem, establishing that source of safe water for masses of people. What's surprising is how easily this technology is set up and how you can create thousands of gallons of potable water in such a short time. It was so necessary because even after days and days into this disaster, they still had no potable water.
Turn the chlorine generator on and just get a real nice little flow of chlorine going into it that will supply these 2 tanks in here that will now feed the showers and the laundries.
So the WOW Cart allows us to come into these situations and help ordinary people be able to have equipment to where they can supply as much safe water as they need to a group of people, as much disinfectant as they need to a group of people, with whatever water access point there is.
Without clean water, we can't do anything. We can't guarantee people's health, people's safety. The only way that we can guarantee that is through water filtration, through bleach, through cleaning every surface that you see. If it's not sanitary, there's a chance people get sick. Resources are lost when people are sick. We're already losing enough resources in a disaster.
One piece of our equipment can manufacture possibly 10,000 gallons of water a day. Well, a 747 can hold about 10,000 gallons of water. So when you start doing the math and the finances of having tools like this, it's a game changer.
Bottled water is always the first reaction, first response, get safe drinking water to the people. Bottled water, you can't cook with it, clean with it, prepare food, shower, laundry, that sort of thing. And if there's a longer term outage of the water supply, the bottled water is such a solid waste issue.
When I hear plastic water bottles, I am thinking of creating the next disaster, because we're here to clean this up and help and offer support. And if we're doing it with plastic water bottles, we're not really helping. So WOW Cart comes in and we can do this all for fillable options without all of this plastic, which, we all know that. I believe the statistic at the time is 9% of our plastics are recycled.
What I've seen, especially on the islands, is the problem that trying to figure out what to do with all that, not only the debris they've got to remove, but then they've got to remove all the boxes and cans and plastic. That takes a lot to be able to bring in the ships and the cargoes and transport it out to throw it away somewhere. And I think that we're starting to get to where we don't have the landfills. When we have a big disaster, that's huge for the communities. Where is all that land stuff going to go?
Water treatment, emergency water treatment systems, typically there's not that many out there. A lot of times they'll be on a big semi-tractor trailer. They'll have all sorts of advanced technology, very hard to operate. You have to be an expert. And they might not even be able to get into the situation. In Puerto Rico, the big trucks couldn't even get there. And so there was this gap, both a physical and a conceptual gap, of easy to operate, easy to transport, and a technology that could treat water of all kinds.
In about 10 minutes,
Right.
this will turn into a pretty strong chlorine.
Chloro goes one way, sodium goes the other way.
Okay.
It separates the two. Separates the two electrically.
Okay.
For some years we've known what it's like to work in a disaster. We've been in these international disasters where we've been supplying safe water and sanitation, and we realize that there's this niche that needs to be filled, and it's between bottled water and more expensive power hogging machines that require technical support. And that's what the WOW Cart brings. It brings together possibilities, it brings together some security, and it brings together the opportunity that I can operate this with my team, and my team can teach each other and others how to operate it as well.
We need to rethink the future. The WOW Cart has really opened my eyes to how simple it is to eliminate and fade out all of these plastics that are really so unnecessary. Having, you know, I have that feeling of, you know, I'm responsible for, you know, how this earth is taken care of.
One other interesting thing that is just not for emergency response. It could be deployed ahead of a situation, or like at nursing homes, prisons, hospitals, where if there is a loss of power or water, they can treat their own water for sanitary purposes or for drinking or for whatever. And so it's just not for emergency response, but it could be add that resilience layer. And one of our concerns in the agency is a wide area contamination event, where an urban area is contaminated and they have to wash buildings down. Well, that can generate billions of gallons of water. And so you need something that can treat the water on site and dispose of it properly. You know, not necessarily to drink it, but just to dispose of it safely to the wastewater system, or to the environment, or to a secure landfill.
To me, the ideal would be that every city already has a WOW card ready. Every town, every community has a WOW card on location that can so easily be pulled out of a back closet, you know, a storage shed somewhere, a basement at a community center, and it's set up in minutes.
There hasn't been the big event that kind of galvanizes the focus. And so with Lake Charles, Hurricane Harvey, Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, these things are slowly bringing the concept up to a level where it's in everybody's conscious level. And I think we get some states actively involved, and just the actual on-scene coordinators from the EPA, from FEMA, and get them actually operating and taking these carts with them, and then I think we'll be there.
Our equipment has been described as elegant, and I love that. It's so simple, it's affordable, and it's sustainable. And that in itself is a little bit difficult to do. So you've got to have really smart folks that are coming together, and you got to have smart, practical folks that join up, and you got to have passionate folks that come together. And in that, we've been able to make advancements to simple solutions that might even be a little bit simpler and easier to operate and more sustainable as a result.
You know, we've been in business for 27 years, and it was amazing. You know, we've had boil orders and disasters, and then to realize something sitting in our backyard through WaterStep, so simple opportunity to solve a complicated problem, for which us is when there's a boil order or there's a disaster, restaurants don't have water, and we need it to cook, but we need it to give it to employees or even the community.
The Teddy Roosevelt Leadership Awards are an incredible honor for us. The work that we've been able to do with the government in putting together the WOW card, and we've learned so much and been able to apply that in other places. And like, you know, Teddy Roosevelt lived his life, you know, this larger than life guy that even when times when he went through difficult times, he rose up with this angst to go and do something big to get back in the game. It's that man in the arena. And the wonderful story, and I actually have that on my wall at home, and I'm reminded of that story every day. And the great thing is, as for us, we feel like that. Our team feels like that man in the arena, and we're fighting and wrestling for the men and women that are in the same arenas of despair, in a disaster, in the developing world, in places where their health is at great risk.